Morning, y'all. Happy Monday. Good morning. I'm always up early. Wolfie, you don't even know what you're talking about. What up, Bama? One's a Dutch Shepherd, one's a Belgian Malinois, and I don't give their names. Puppy, Pupperone, Doggo. They got a bunch of little nicknames. Scooby, Scooby and Shaggy. Which one's Shaggy? Hope everyone's having a good morning so far. Like not a long weekend over here, but definitely kept me on my toes and busy. I'm looking for a good week, so I hope everyone has a good week too, and good vibes only. Some good manifestation happening because we all need good things to occur. Okay, thanks. Morning, morning, morning. Top of the morning to you. How you been doing? I actually went to, like I do every morning, I went to put a seed in my bird feeder outside, and one of the birds left me an egg. I don't know what kind of egg it is. I try to like Google Lens it, but I got carried away with other stuff, and I want to go back and like search what kind of egg it is. But literally left an egg in my bird food thing. I took a picture of it. Oh, what, yesterday? Just because. Yeah, I actually had a couple glasses of like this like lemon. I don't know what it's really like. It's not like champagne. What? Let me see if it says on. Oh, it's a white wine with natural lemon flavor. But it was like a creeper drink. I'm like, do I feel anything or am I just drinking juice? And then I literally like got home and I was like, okay, it's feeling a little bit more than juice. No, it's not against the law, but I've had a lot of crazy things happen, so I just don't give out their name or mine. I hope you're having a good day, Brianna. How old are you? I'm like, I can't tell. And make sure you drink some water, Bama. They're not the same. I mean, honestly, like drinking and smoking, completely different. I really don't care for drinking like that anymore because it's like, I really don't like feeling like trash the next day. But here and there, you can like have a different type of tolerance for it, but it is very important to stay hydrated. Thanks, Bree. Party forever. Rock on. What is it? For a cure of a hangover, or a hanger. Cure of a hangover is the what drink another. I don't know how accurate that is. I think it's just like maybe slightly accurate, but I got like a cake pop press. I'm excited. I'm like, I want to make some cake pops. Yeah, coffee does make it better, but make sure you're drinking water too, because those are all dehydrating things. I I did have some ribs for dinner last night. I definitely enjoyed those bad boys. It was great. I like met up with I call her my long lost sister. I like met up with like my long lost sister yesterday. And it's always cool when you get together with people that like actually like know who you are and have known you for a long time, because they can like realign you or like remind you of like who you are at times, because we all get like a little like wavy in life, and let the waves drift us away, and then we come back and then recenter ourselves. And no, 26 is okay. I was just making sure you're not like 12, girl. That's the important part. That is the important part around here. Happy almost birthday. So, are you a Taurus or a Gemini? Oh, I miss my 20s. Long time. You're from Canada, eh? The second oldest daughter's age? Oh, okay. I translated for you since you're still, trash. I'm just kidding. Enjoy your 20s while you can, girl. All of a sudden you blink, you're not 20s, and you're not in the 20s anymore. But it's okay. I'm all about the train of we're getting wiser, not older, because I don't want to be told I'm getting older. That's just not gonna work for me. I knew what you meant, Bama. I done learned by now to start translating for your ass. I'm just kidding. I got jokes. Feeling sassy. Yo. What are you gonna do for your birthday, Breen? And Wolfie, you just step in, you step out. What the heck? Yeah, one of your baby mamas. A red and white. So no blue, right? That's cool. Have you ever been to the States? Ooh, that sounds good. You dipping that cake into that coffee? When I worked at Starbucks, I loved taking their cinnamon. I can't even remember the name of it anymore. Cinnamon swirl or dang, that's crazy. Dang, I can't remember the name of it. But I used to love taking it. The cinnamon one is like a little loaf. It's kind of a rip off, to be honest, but I don't even know if they make it anymore. I haven't gone to Starbucks in years, but I used to love taking it in my coffee. Or I would take the marble pound cake and I would pour espresso over the marble pound cake with a little bit of whipped cream. Oh my gosh, let the marble pound cake get soaked in the espresso. Phenomenal. Yeah, I figured ours is red, white, and blue, so I was just making a bad joke. Yeah, you said one of the baby mamas, Bama. What's the plan for the day, y'all? What up, Brody? Happy Monday. I don't know what kind of joke that is, Bama. I'm gonna let it go over my head. Yeah, recover. That's important. You need some like electric lights. Electrolytes. It was funny, my long lost sister, her dog yesterday, like I was like, she put her away, and I was like, well, does she bite? Like, she can come out. Like, I'm good with animals. Probably some of my boys, but I was like, if she's good, you can let her out. She's like, well, just don't like approach her. I was like, what? I was like, that sounds like an iffy situation, but I was like, we'll roll the dice. But they were having like these people repairing their pool there, which I was shocked on a Sunday that they were there, but they she was not with the people. She could care less about me. She was really like, she got really close to me, but I listened to my long lost sister. I was like, well, I'm not gonna like pet her and like piss her off, so I'll let her just like warm up to me. And I've met the dog before a long time ago, but it's been a while. So I don't know if she did remember me. Dogs are smart, but she literally by the end of me hanging out over there, she was like literally like warming up to me. I like threw her a couple pieces of food. It was just like, here, this is like the way to anyone's heart. I got a couple of tail wags. She was still like, I don't know, lady, you got any more like hamburger up there that you can give me? Oh, camping sounds fun. I love me some camping. Spring break, yeah, spring break's like a shit show. What's for breakfast? I ate so much food yesterday. I um I honestly don't know. Probably my usual, my yogurt cup, my protein, the typical. Working around this morning, I'm like, not hungover, but I'm definitely slowly kicking. Does Marley not like everybody? Me and the dog ended up being cool. Like she looks like a chihuahua, but she's way bigger than a chihuahua, so she's like mixed with something. What's for breakfast? You making us breakfast, Wolfie? Come on. You whipping out the eggs, the bacon? I don't know what everyone's preference is. I want to make some quiche though. No, I don't feed my dogs hamburgers. I was warming up a dog yesterday that was kind of like, what is your purpose here, lady? And she honestly looked like she ate a couple hot dogs here and there, but no, I'll drop my dog some chicken every now and then. They were extremely underweight when I first got them, so I really try to like keep them on a healthy diet, and I'll make them snacks and stuff. Like they love peanut butter pumpkin treats. Those are like the best. And it's kind of funny because the treats that I make them, like they have some normal dog treats, I guess, but I really don't know what they're putting in these things. And their food is like 90% protein. So I try to really stick with like that, and I'll top it with chicken or chicken broth or something like that. But I their treats that I make is like the humans can eat it. It's literally like pumpkin peanut butter, and then you can use a little bit of oats to roll it, and then you bake it. But you can literally eat it. It doesn't have like dog food in it. Hold on a second. So it's kind of funny to like eat one in front of them. They're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, okay. So I'm only getting bacon and eggs if I'm on my sick bed. Well, don't wish sickness upon me. What up, Simba? Morning, morning, morning. Any thoughts about joining a gym? Like thoughts about you or me joining a gym? I love that they're called one hitters. Most of the time, nobody's just doing a one hitter, you know? Like multiple. Why do I need to get more swole? No, I honestly, you can do everything for the most part at home. I had an elliptical on my back patio for a long time, but one of the legs got really jammed in it. And I don't know if something broke off in there or what, and it was like unrepairable. So now I just have like a weight bench out on the patio. And then most of the stuff you can like do workouts without like a full on gym. I'm not paying for a membership. Come on now. Yeah, it actually is pretty good. The dogs love it, and the peanut butter is already like, it has like protein and stuff in it. But the pumpkin is good for their digestive system, and I love cooking anything pumpkin in the house. But lately, the grocery store hasn't had pumpkin, which is annoying because I didn't think that it was seasonal. I was like, what the heck? I was stocked up for a while. And the last few times I've gone to the pumpkin store, I've gone to the grocery store, they don't have pumpkin. I'm like, what the heck? Thanks, Wolfie. You're headed to the gym? 100 years? I don't know even what I would be capable of past 100 years. If I'm still able to garden and walk the dogs, then we're good. Thanks for stopping in this morning, y'all. I'll probably live a little bit later too. But I'm trying to like really get together some ideas, make some money, some money. The flea market was closed this weekend, so I couldn't do the flea market. But I still went thrifting. Oh, is it supposed to rain all day? It looks like you're going to be in the gym at home then. Yeah, maybe it was Halloween. I was like kind of upset because I'm like, I didn't think it was seasonal. If I would have known, I would have stocked up. I'm sure there's some store out there, but I hate Walmart, and if I don't have to go to Walmart, I will not go to Walmart. Um, there's a couple little marketplaces near me that may have it, but it's still kind of shocking that the grocery store just doesn't have it on deck. Like, you can have pumpkin any time of year. Come on now. I have a neighbor here that literally still has a pumpkin sitting in their yard. And I'm like, you gonna use that? No, I'm just kidding. First off, I would never take anything from these crazy people. But it is crazy that they still have a pumpkin sitting in their yard. Deworming your system? I hopefully no worms. Pumpkin seeds, yes, to bake them. You can bake them. The song about thrift store, is it country? I'm like, I done gone thrifting, looking for some cowboy boots. Stay with me for the rest of the lyrics, as I'm not ready for it. Yeah, my neighbors are like the Grim Reapers, so it's pretty suiting for them. That neighbor specifically just took down their Christmas lights like literally last month. Is pumpkin good for your eyes? Or are you just making this stuff up now? You're like, I'm just gonna tell Dutchy all the things. By the way, Brianna, I go by Dutchy around here. And Wolfie, say hi to Brianna. Bama already did. Dang, Bama, it looked like you were giving sass to Brianna this morning. Holding it down. Wow, that's cool, Wolfie. I'll take notes. I have another friend that comes in here named Brianna. She's awesome. Shout out to her. Shout out to Selena. Like, where the heck has Selena been? Like, ugh, miss her. I need more ladies in my chat. Yeah, you're just saying your usual message. F around and find out. I saw something the other day that made me think of you. It was like, I didn't F around, so why am I finding out? I was like, oh, true, true. Yeah, that is a common comment. We do need more women power chat. 100%, hands down. I will say I got a good support system of dudes that aren't creeps in here that like hold it down for me as a lady, and I appreciate them entirely and for being respectful because I ain't afraid to block your ass. I think a lot of women are like sadly jealous of one another and don't support each other as much. I try to be really a girl's girl, but I also don't like cattiness, so I'll shut that shit down real fast. And I tend to see right through that. Lie about what? Hold on now. Yeah, to find out is divine, I'll tell you that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure other Brie is from the States. Well, she's definitely from the States. I don't want to drop her location. She can do that, but yeah, two Brees has got to be better than one. I've actually had the pleasure of knowing quite a few Briannas in my life, spelled different ways. But I've always been cool with Brianna, so I had this girl named Brianna, Bream, that I played basketball with, and she was like a ride or die. She's amazing. I haven't talked to her in a while, but she's a super trooper. And she's also a Taurus. Is that your daughter's name too? That's wild. Wait, is this your long lost daughter, Mama? What if, like, I don't know. I try not to, like, judge people by their names, but I've had some bad experiences with, like, common names. So I've taken note of that in this life. But what if, like, people with the same name act the same? I know it's not true, but. Oh, snap. They're the same age, too. Wait a minute. Is this your daughter? Just kidding. Maybe. Who knows? Be yanking my tail. I was just about to ask if this was your beautiful mixed baby. I love mixed babies. They tell a story. I am not really superstitious though. I think I may get that for my grandpa, but I'm just like not really superstitious. I think the opposite. Like black cat crosses my path, which there's one that lives in my neighborhood, so it's like constantly crossing paths with me is like a fresh beginning, which I definitely need in this grim reaper of a neighborhood. And the ladder one too. I'm trying to think of superstitions over here. The ladder one, if you walk under a ladder, you have bad luck for XYZ years. Why can't it be good luck? Oh, this has to be good luck. I said earlier that I had a bird. I need to look up what kind of egg it is. I had a bird leave an egg in my bird feeder. I was like, oh. It looked like it was slightly cracked though, which is kind of sad. So I'd like to be optimistic that it was like hatching, but where is its mom? And I'm pretty sure it needs to be incubated. You should always love the baby mamas, even if you aren't supposed to be together, but they provided you a beautiful soul for life. Brown and white cats, you should Google it. Or actually, I personally am like, what do you feel intuition wise? Because Google has a list of things, of all the things. So it could be like a rabbit hole. Well, what do you feel when these cats cross your path? Get out of my way, kitty. Or do you feel like they're sending you a message? Yeah, it's probably you being superstitious. I like how you're like, no cussing, and then dun dun dun. Google knows a lot of stuff, but it can be a rabbit hole and it can also be a liar. So if we're all being, I made this point a while ago. If AI is like generating everything, and people just run off of what AI says, but AI is actually wrong. Now all these people think that XYZ is the accurate answer because of Google or AI is generating a response. It is marvelous like how the world has come and like the technology and the knowledge that can be easily given, but people aren't reading and absorbing like they would in a book. And you also, once again, don't know. We could just be all being fed wrong information and running with it. So I like to do like multiple researches and trust my intuition. Oh, come on now. That's nonsense. I actually was really good for a while, and then I was like feeling like I was containing my true self. And I'm like, look, I'll try to keep it down, but the country comes out, and so does the slaying of the curse words. Yeah, but I'm also like sketched out that it's called Gemini because Geminis are Geminis, and I'm like, why do we name this Gemini? It is accurate sometimes. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm just in general, like we're really depending that these things are accurate, just like all this robot stuff going on. Like, are we gonna trust a robot to serve us at a restaurant and not like pour the food on us, like set on fire, uh, attack us? You just don't know. Yeah, that southern hippity hoppity, get off my property, go on and get. I got a confusing accent going on. When I go back home to Nashville, they look at me like, what happened to you? Like, honestly, like, I get looked at because my accent is just, like, confusing. I'm like, Nuck, if you buck, I can get bucked too. It's like ratchet country slang. I don't know if there was much good about social media, but I can imagine this is as social media as it gets for me. But I can imagine that it does. And how do we know if a lot of this stuff is real? Like, I think a good eye can tell, but a lot of this stuff is starting to really look more real. So it's like, are we really watching a human or is it AI? Wolfie likes to say that I'm AI. Yeah, the Grim Reapers of the neighborhood. Well, I don't know if you heard, but I had to install another camera in the back because dude that tried to break in literally was lurking in the back at like 6:30 in the morning a few weeks back. And I went out there like the ring girl, like watching him, and he got like kind of sketched out. And he was like, "Good morning," and I'm like, "Don't talk to me. Like, there's absolutely no good morning from here." But the camera in the back is like so obvious that it's a camera. It's funny because a couple of the little creepers have been coming around, and I think it's honestly deteriorating them even more because they feel like, oh shit, I'm being watched. And I'm like, yep, you are. Bama, we don't even need to go in your stream to know. Oh, why? You got a video on there? Oh my gosh, I gotta check it out. Do you have a video on your channel? I'm dead. Sorry, y'all. There's definitely just like a mixed party hat of been dropped on their head numerous times in this neighborhood. When my like long lost sister, that's what I'm gonna call her, my long lost sister yesterday was like asking me because we haven't met up in a while. She was like asking me how life is and stuff. And she didn't even know about all the neighborhood stuff. And I didn't even want to start talking about it because there's just like endless stories and I didn't want to consume or hang out in that. But she was like, what? She was like, where the heck do you live? I'm like, it doesn't even like look like it would have the issues that it has. But I've lived in some crazy places growing up. We moved around a lot, and honestly, some of the places were definitely not trustworthy places to be living, or they definitely didn't look like it. But yeah, I didn't have any of the issues that I have here. It's wild. So don't judge a book by its cover. Oh yeah, I saw him on Sa- Saturday too this weekend, and I walked over like to where I wasn't walked to where exactly he was, but very much close by. And he looked stunned to see me. We had a stare down, and I'm like, I'm not breaking this stare. And honestly, like if you don't know me either, I have like resting bitch face. So I definitely like I'm not afraid to just like look at you like you're scum of the earth, which he definitely is. I gotta get out of here at some point. I just like have to like figure that out. But I've worked so hard to be here, so I'm also very stubborn of like this is my property and like ain't nobody gonna shoo me off. I have to trust that, you know, God sees it all, and I um I just have to keep myself in check too, which can be pretty hard because nobody wants to feel like they're being stalked. Well, I know I tell all my stories at different times and stuff, so I never know who's like tapped in on what story I'm telling. But he got into it. The dude that tried to break in got into it with my literal next door neighbor, like literally next door, at 2:30 in the morning. He rides up on a bike, parks the bike outside my neighbor's house, and I swear this is how I know angels exist. My neighbor pulls up like a minute later max, and he works like late nights and stuff, so he gets home around that time. And literally my neighbor, you could tell, I ran the video back, and you could tell he like literally was like what the heck to the bike, and he like sat there with the headlights on the bike. And tell me how this bike is like literally like a beach cruiser that's like super blue, like it stands out, like there's no way like you couldn't notice this bike. And he like runs around because I have cameras everywhere now. Like I have more cameras than even necessary at this point, but I feel like there's not enough cameras here. But he runs around the whole house. He's like staking the house, and my cameras caught him. And then he goes to the front yard, and my neighbor comes out like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Like, he tried to tell my neighbor he lives at my house. And my neighbor's known me for almost 10 years. So he's like, no, you don't. And he was like asking my neighbor if he was law enforcement, and was like, are you going to call the cops and like all this stuff. But he's gotten my neighbor several times because my neighbor was like carefree. That literal next door neighbor was like pretty much implying that I'm crazy and this stuff's not happening. Or they make it seem like, oh, why do they want to go to your house? And I'm like, he's gone to everybody's house. You guys are just dumb as rocks. And they're being like, they're they're not looking good enough because they're assuming that this guy is not doing what he's doing, but yet everyone's house is getting broken into. Because pretty much almost every neighbor has been robbed here. There's only just like maybe a handful that has not, which is not surprising to me at this point, but it is surprising that no one else has put this together but myself. I'm like, open your eyes. But yeah, it turns out guy lives way closer to me than I thought. And it just can't be shaken. It's disgusting. But he had a whole exchange with my neighbor at like 2 in the morning justifying why he's running around his house. And my neighbor asked to see the footage on our cameras, and I was like, this is why I told you I had cameras a few years ago that I wasn't using. And this is when kind of it all first started. And I told him, I said, if you want to buy these cameras from me, if not, I'm going to sell them. And he ended up deciding he like had the cameras for like a hot minute. I let him like keep them, and then he decides he doesn't want to put up the camera. And I was like, well, give it back to me. I want to sell it. Like that's like quite a bit of money, so give me that. And he ends up not putting it up, but he asked for the footage when the guy ran around his house, and I was like, that's why you should have got fucking cameras. But you know, cameras don't stop it, but honestly, like when he tried to get in and I had showed the cops all the footage and stuff, like it still didn't like stop him either. It's just like a deterrent to some degree. Oh my god, what, Wilfie? Really? Do you know who it was? Get some electric lights. Make sure you stay hydrated. Yeah, I've called the cops several times. In the first couple of years, I called the cops a lot because I was like, I need a paper trail. Like, I can't not get this on paper that this is happening. Because if no one calls because they all feel the cops won't do anything, then it doesn't get resolved. But listen to this. I also think that this is connected. 2 days, literally 2 days after the guy tried to get in, he there was another car that pulled up on my circle, and they literally my other neighbor across the street was pulling into her house. Hold on a second. She was pulling into her house. Sorry, she was pulling into her house, and she was coming around the circle, and she saw the guy getting out of this car, and he had a hoodie on, flip flops. I'm like, there's so many thoughts like going through my head because I'm like, how do you not know this isn't the same guy? Because at one point, there was a couple of them walking around, like it's a family that's doing it. Like it's not just this guy. Like there's a woman and then there's another kid that does it too. And anyways, they like to wear flip flops, and that shows me comfortability to the max. Anyways, this guy gets out of this car, and my other neighbor's like pulling in, and I had just met her just between those 2 days because I went and talked to my surrounding neighbors, like, have you been robbed? Like, do you know about this? Like, blah blah blah. And apparently, I'd been living under a rock, and multiple people had already been robbed, and I was like, oh my god. But I had learned in the mix that these neighbors had been dying to talk to me because they had been judging me for years. So instead of being neighborly, they were like stoked to talk to me, but they didn't give a shit about it. It was just building rapport to judge me, essentially. And I was like, wow, I'm starting to look like this crazy girl. Meanwhile, none of you experience what I've experienced. Well, the girl across the street works from home, and she's home alone a lot. So I was like, I told her, I was like, well, I do feel compelled to tell you about this stuff because what makes you think that he's not going to come to your house? Oh, I have a fence, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, girl, people be jumping fences. What are you talking about? Hold on. And, actually, okay. And then, sorry. And what was I saying? Okay, so I had just met her. So I gave her my number and stuff. And, 2 days after that, kid you not, 2 days after that, it's like broad daylight outside. It's like literally like 5 o'clock. And, she sees the guy get out of the car, and he's wearing flip-flops and stuff, and might have mentioned the other neighbor on the corner where this guy had parked his car, and he didn't just park it, he just like threw it in the street. And they have cameras like all over their house, and she ended up asking them for it, and they were able to get a photo of him. Tell me how he literally, y'all, this sounds like a crime doc, he literally pulled out a gun in broad daylight and then walked over to the main lake and threw it into the lake and then walked off. Another lady that walks around with her dogs ended up walking her dogs, and the guy was hiding in a bush, and the dog scared him out of the bush. And she didn't think like he just dropped a gun, like she had no idea what was happening. And he literally just like runs off or whatever. And I guess some of the neighbors started connecting their footages with one another. And she ended up calling the cops because she was like, oh my gosh, was that an umbrella? Was that a gun? And her boyfriend, fiance, I don't know, but he was like, no, that was a gun. And then she called me and was like, oh my God, girl, he's walking around the back. So she didn't know if he was coming for me. And at that point, I still didn't know that day if he saw me at the window when he tried to get in or he saw the camera in the window. And I was like, oh my God, you're sending me like crazy thoughts of like what is happening, like what's gonna happen next. And this was all like within seconds of it actually happening. And I was like, what kind of neighborhood am I freaking living in? I was like, this is getting insane. Well, the cops ended up coming, SWAT came, they closed it down. But at first they literally like questioned her. Like she ended up calling the cops and I told her, I was like, I don't want to be involved because I didn't see it. I was like, so I don't really have any information to give the cops and I already just had the cops at my house like 2 days ago. I'm not trying to like be involved. Um, and the cops came and they told her, they were like, how do you know it was a gun? Like, it could have been an airsoft. And I'm like, that's your job to figure out. Like, what the fuck? And they were like questioning her, making her feel bad. And that's why people don't want to call the cops too, because they like literally like belittle people sometimes. And not all cops. I mean, it's a human thing. Like, there's good and bad in everything. But, anyways, they just pretty much made her feel like trash. And then, turns out like I don't know where it changed. I forget because it's been so long now. I don't know where it changed, but she was like, I'm pretty sure it was a gun and or a pew pew, and her boyfriend said the same thing. And I can't remember why it changed, but I guess they ran. I'm trying to think because I'm like, where did it change in the story? Because they were just going to leave. Like, they were like, well, screw it. We're just going to leave. Like, you don't really know what you're talking about, essentially. Well, I guess they ran the tag to the car because the car was just dropped off there and the car was stolen. And turns out they looked inside the car and there were tons of stolen pew pews in there. And some of them allegedly were cops. And I was like, wait, what? It was some wild, wild stuff. So they ended up shutting down the whole neighborhood entirely. And then the following Monday, because it was like literally a Friday or Saturday, I think it was a Saturday. Yeah, I think it was because I remember the guy coming on a Thursday. Um, anyways, so I think it was Saturday. It was literally like 2 days later. So Thursday, Friday, yeah, Saturday. Literally, forensics come again on Monday. So I'm like, so you left this alleged pew pew that was thrown into the lake, in the lake, and then all of a sudden they want my neighbor now to be involved, that they accused of not knowing what she saw. And they wanted her to do like a lineup, all this stuff. It was crazy. It was too much. Anyways, let me catch up. I'm like, guys and girls, I got stories for days. Oh, so you do have cameras, Wolfie? Oh my gosh. That's crazy though. What did they take? Did they take anything? I mean, you never know. Some just come in but most of the time they obviously take shit. It's wild. Girl, I got some stuff around here and the puppies, I honestly would defend them to the end of my time before I expected them to do the same for me, but they definitely would have my back. No action. That's wild. There really is no action. You're talking about your situation, right, Wealthy? But that was on Thursday. You have to keep calling. They don't call you back. They don't care. It is a disgrace. Yeah, I mean me and her both kind of dealt with something pretty fast because she says that the guy saw her and she felt kind of weird and uncomfortable that they like made eye contact and stuff. But I'm not convinced that it's correlated because I didn't know where to drop the car. He just drove into a random neighborhood. I don't know, this guy that's going into everyone's home here. I really think that like I don't know. You got to be on some next level shit to be like doing that. Especially you're shitting where you eat. Overall, you shouldn't be stealing from anyone. And then you definitely wouldn't like that to be done to you. There was another person inside the subdivision, because there's like another neighborhood, and they actually they were like they got their house broken into. There were several of them, but I ended up talking to one of the, and they said that it was a guy and a girl, and the guy and the girl went in to their home, and they have cameras inside their house too, and went specifically for purses, took all her purses, but they went and played with his pew pew, the guy that they broke into his house. The guy had a pew pew in his home, like most people do. They literally took the pew pew. I'm using like code words here. Look, took the pew pew bees out and then put it under his pillow freaking case, y'all. Like, that's some weird message of like trying to really F with someone. They probably saw the cameras too and felt more compelled to do that. Like, I know where you sleep type of shit. Some wild stuff. Homeboy, the dude that's doing this definitely knows that I know it's him. 100%. And I'm not going to say that I'm like protected. I would like to always feel that way because I do believe in my angels and I want to feel protected in my home that I've worked hard for. So you just never know. And I definitely never want to be like, I'm protected. But at the same time, you have to tell yourself like that because you need to feel that to feel protected. But it definitely, I feel like he should just know to stay away from here. But when I saw him a few weeks ago, in the back, he was filming back here, and he wasn't filming like the water or the ducks. Like he was literally filming the back, like trying to like maybe get a video of what it looks like at everyone's house. Because when he came to my house, he had thought that he came to the only window that doesn't have a camera, which is not the case. $10. It doesn't matter how much it is. It matters that you're stealing. Like, and it doesn't matter like if it was $1. Like, you shouldn't be stealing from anyone. And you know, it's like I used to be, I would say I've changed a lot, but I'd be the type of person like just ask me and I probably just give it to you, you know? I give homeless people money from time to time and I don't expect you to, you know, I rather buy them food when it comes to homeless people, but I don't expect you to like not do something that shouldn't be good with this if I'm willing to give you the money. I would hope that that's not what you're doing. So I am more of like, I like to give them like drinks or food and stuff because you need that stuff equivalent to what you probably would spend the money on. No, I was saying I'm pretty sure it was on a Thursday. I would have to look back at my stuff because I have footage and photos and I remember the date and stuff, but I want to say it was a Thursday and they came back again on Saturday. Where were you? Why didn't you have your phone? Were you there? How does like how does your like justice system work? Like do the cops like make a report and oh my god. It's like something just backfired outside. I'm like, oh no, Wolfie, there's bada bing, bada boom out here. Oh no. Oh girl, he's definitely, there's no way you're doing stuff like that and you're not a crackhead. And if you're not, that's even weirder to me. I've met some people that are like sober, but they're freaking nuts. So that tells me a lot too. But I'm pretty sure he's an addict. Well, there was another house in 2019 that ended up getting raided. But I mean, let's just talk about a month ago. There was the house right in front of the house that got raided in 2019, literally directly across the street that got raided like a month ago. And then the landlords kicked them out. And they've had their trash just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. The garbage people aren't picking it up. Yeah, it sounds like he was just looking for his next drug of choice. Definitely money. It's so sad. I'm sorry, Wolfie. It doesn't matter what they take or don't take. It's like a violation, and you wonder if people come back. And it's uncomfortable. No one should feel like that in their home. And yeah, Bree, this my neighborhood stuff been going around for a while. My peeps that come in like either ask me or don't ask me because they know that the stories are endless. Oh yeah, so I can imagine it has to be something serious for them to keep them. Do you have a prison and a jail or just a prison? Yeah, because it's like considered like low crime or a lower level of crime, which is awful. It's like, no, you shouldn't be doing any of that. And if it was like the olden days, you take from someone, you get your arm done. I just don't think it's like, think about how you would feel if someone was doing it to you, but it's a jealousy, it's an envious thing. They think that like you have more than them and that you should pay for XYZ for them. And it's like, no, get a job or find a hobby that's not this. Yeah, I'm sure the rehabs are full too, but honestly, I think some people like when they get to a point of like way over abuse of like substance, they become like manipulators too. So I think they can manipulate the rehab systems to some degree and then come back out and do the same shit. It's awful. Some of them change their lives, but the probably the like statistics of them not is more higher. I mean, they get all kinds of stuff in jail. Like, they get all the things they're definitely not even supposed to have. And fried chicken, they shouldn't be getting no fucking fried chicken. I'm sure it's not, you know, amazing being around a bunch of people that are amped up, women and then men, and don't want to be in this area, like trapped and confined, but you should consider your actions. Yeah, they asked you about your guitar, like you're like, this isn't the time. Trying to change conversations. Like, no, like, focus here. Someone said something to me when I got my first pup, and I was like talking about the neighborhood stuff, and they were like, "You got to shop for a cop." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And it never left my mind because I'm like, it's so true. in the times that I was calling and reporting this stuff for paper trail purposes, there was literally two, actually, I lied, three cops, and I was calling for a lot of the neighbor stuff because it was getting really obsessive, including the lady that was stalking me. But literally, there were literally three cops that were genuine, and all the other ones were like trash. I would have started singing them a big F you song, you know? Oh, I get sassed too. When six sheriffs showed up at my house, I was like, it needs to be six of you for me, and none of you are women. I think like there are good and bad in everything, like literally everything. That's how the world works. So I've met a lot of good cops, but I also think that, like I said, good and bad in everything. I think it's like an ego thing, like that it's a control thing. They like to be in power. But if you're not using what is considered, I don't like to say power, but your like ability to maybe change the world one person at a time, and it may maybe even seem a lot, but I think they get jaded. And if you're abusing your like authority, I don't even like that word, but it's what it is. If you're abusing your authority, then it's like disgusting that no wonder people don't really trust you. Yeah, they didn't touch me because they would have to have a woman, but my neighbor painted me as Godzilla, and they thought that they were with like Godzilla, I guess. Knowing that I was still a woman, they knew that, and I'm pretty sure they looked into my house before they showed up here. Oh no, I would have not allowed them to touch me. That would have been a no. And yeah, they do have body cams. Which honestly, I totally agree with the body cams because they lie too, and then they get away with it because they're have this authority and connections that maybe someone of innocence doesn't have. Um, and it's also like for people that aren't innocent and are trying to hurt a cop. So I think it is important to have those things recorded. I actually asked them, when I said, was it necessary to have six of you guys and one of me and none of you are female? And I was like, I said, what was I painted as She Hulk? I didn't say Godzilla, but She Hulk. But She Hulk was like badass and definitely strong, but Godzilla just felt like how they were treating me because it was wild when they showed up with that many of them. But they ended up slimming themselves down after that because they realized like she has a very valid point. And I'm like, yeah, I do. It's unnecessary. How about some of you go back to her house and pick her brain and see how much of a whack job she is, thanks. But I had footage and stuff, so when they came to the house, like I had footage to back up what I was saying. Meanwhile, the little stalker witch didn't. She was just saying. They showed up and they were like, "We've had several of your neighbors say that you are yelling at them and intimidating them." I was like, "You mean one neighbor and maybe her little psychic friend because they have no friends and they have each other." Meanwhile, the one neighbor that I think really stirred the pot was talking trash about the stalker chick. So I was like, yeah, no, like you guys should go talk to them and pick their brain a little bit more. But before you go, let me show you the footage. And honestly, I had so many videos in my phone, it took a while to find it because I didn't save it in a folder. Now I have all this stuff saved in a folder. Like, okay, you want to say XYZ, I'm ready to go. But I told the cop, I was like, look, I do YouTube and I have tons of videos. And at one point, they were like, okay, well, we believe what you're saying. Like, we'll just go. And I was like, oh, no, you're staying until I get this video up because there was one specifically that I wanted to show them because this woman's like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Meanwhile, in the video, the dude's calling me a whore. She went home and got not even her husband as like a dirty looking trucker. No offense to the truckers, but literally goes home and gets this like rag doll looking of a man, and I wouldn't even call him a man, and he's like reaching behind his pants behind the plant. So I went inside my patio because I was like, oh no, I don't know what you're doing. And I went inside my patio and I started filming, and I have a camera inside the patio, so it's like the footage, but I had them with my phone, and they start flaking me off, telling me I was a lying whore. And I was like, excuse me? Like, I've never even talked to you. For anyone that doesn't know, like probably Bree or anyone that doesn't remember, this was the same lady that was putting golf balls in my yard, knowing that I do my yard work. And I don't know if she was trying to set up my dog, set me up to wax someone's car, my own car. I have no idea. Don't care. You shouldn't be putting it in there. But I have footage of her picking up dog poop, pretending to pick up dog poop in my yard. Like she was like here every day, just standing there. I wasn't even walking her dog, just standing here, front and back, wild. But anyways, she pretends to pick up the dog shit, doesn't, and then I was like, I'm tired of seeing you, and I went outside and I was like, why are you here every day? I see you more than my own neighbors, and you just linger. And she just starts flicking me off. Anyone that wasn't in the wrong doesn't automatically jump to like freaking out. And you don't wave ever. So that's always a red flag for me. It's like not even like you can feel when people are bad energy. But she only started coming around because I should have never talked to any of my neighbors and try to let them know what was going on, because they ended up using it back at me like vulnerability of like, oh, she's scared. And I'm like, look, I was in a vulnerable state, but I remember who the F I am, and I'm way stronger than I am more of like not. So definitely not going to allow anyone to just like tear me down. Anyways, she like planted a seed to the other one's head, and the other one has no life and felt like she was going to pick up a new hobby stalking me. So what a blast. It was a whole thing. But anyways, oh yeah, so she pretends to pick up the dog poop, and I don't run the footage back until after I saw the preview on my phone, and I was just like, look, I'm tired of seeing you here. Like, I'm allowed to tell you to stay off my property because you just keep getting in it and inching in it and trying to be like, I could be here stalking you every day. No, you cannot. There's plenty of other places to go. You don't need to be stirring up this. Like, and I don't check the footage, but I just told her to stay out of here. And she literally, I go back and run the footage back. I wish that I'd waited a second longer, but it happens the way it does. She doesn't even pick up the dog poop. She puts a golf ball instead. And I'm like, I can't make this shit up if I tried. I was like, I cannot believe this wild, whacked out job. And she tried to steal my first dog. And I was like, oh no. And I ended up being asked if I want to foster a dog. And I was like, I don't think I would be good at fostering because I'll probably end up keeping because I feel bad. And I was like, I felt bad for my dog because they were coming over here. The dirty little trucker dude was like trying to lure my dog in and stuff, and they were putting golf balls in the backyard too. And one of the little witches tripped on the golf ball and was like, "Is this what they put here?" And it was just like this weird written story that they are so like they probably have a string board of me at home. Like they're so whacked out. I just still can't to this day entirely process like all the things that I've processed in the last several years of like, wow, like I wish I didn't talk to any of these people. The guy trying to get in was bad enough, but the neighbors made it way worse. Well, the best way to avoid it, I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me. I think it probably varies even by state, but usually asking for a warrant. Like you can't just like search people's stuff. But I mean, if you're in the car and you're like smoking something and they have a right to search because they smell something, or I don't know. I know laws change by state, so don't quote me. But yeah, it really just depends on the scenario. Or if you're like drinking and driving, I mean, you've just given up your rights. Like, yeah, the female Hulk, exactly. But I paint her as like a goddess, She-Hulk. She's like super badass strength goddess with like magical powers. So I'll call myself She-Hulk, and that's what I said to them. But like it felt like they were treating me like Godzilla because maybe She-Hulk doesn't come off as like as strong as Hulk, but that's just under it's like typical world of like underestimating her abilities as a woman, but the strength is undeniable. I just think that it was funny when they seen me. 'Cause I'm a very tall woman too, so when they seen me, they were just like, "What?" Like interesting. I took them on a tour around the house. Like I was like, "Yeah, let's go to the backyard. Let me show you exactly where they should not be." Because this little sick twat literally gave them a piece of paper that has a layout of my neighborhood and where she can walk and where she can't walk. Like she was trying to like school me or something. And I like told the cops, I was like, let's go back. She's not supposed to be in this area. Like you can walk through. There's a slim line where it becomes common, and you can walk through that. But when the water recedes back here, it opens it all up. But when the water is full back here in the lake, where's Tension Pond, when it's full back here, you have to walk on my property to go through. So you become trespassing. So I'm like, don't play with me. Do not play with me. Like I hate to be like, well, I'll do what I gotta do. Stay on my property. You just stay on my property. Like we don't need to be tick for tack. But I even told the cops. I said, it's taking me a moment to find the one main video I want to show you because I had several. I had tons of videos of her lurking. But I was like, the one main video that I want to show them was them yelling at me in my yard and trying to. They even realized in the video they're in my yard and he's like trying to get back into this common area. And I'm like, no. This is gold because you're not an angel and you're sitting there making it seem like you're scared of me and stuff. But I actually got a video of her because this was last year. It was almost a year ago now. But I got a video of her just like a month ago in the back. And she heard my door and she runs back to the trail. And I stood out there still videoing or taking the video of her because I knew she was coming back. And lo and behold, she comes back. She's thinking I'm gone, maybe she'll see me, but she was scared because she knows that I'm a smart lady. Do not make it seem like you're smarter than me and wiser and all that stuff. Like, no, just stay away from my house. Stay away. Let me really catch up. Well, I thought about like essentially a restraining order, but I honestly think she's that obsessed that she would love to be in a courtroom with me. like to be like thinking that we're having a coffee date or something. Like she's that sick in the head. Like this one's a real whack job. Like dude trying to break in is a whack job, but this is like a different form. It's wild to me. And she didn't even have a dog at one point. She ended up getting a dog to use the dog as a tool to be back here. And I'm like, what? Did you steal that dog? I'm like not okay with it. But my Belgian though, like he knows her, cannot stand her. Like she definitely when I got the second dog, it was more of like, okay, we can't steal the first dog. But here's the best selling piece. I mean, there's many parts, but I wouldn't even call it a selling piece because it's a fucking nightmare. But she already stole a neighbor's dog that this neighbor I had met with all the crazy crime happening. She ends up literally meeting me and passing and stuff, and turns out she was actually really friends with this lady, and like I said, plotting the seed in her head to come like stalk me, be weird and stuff. And ultimately they're friends. The stalker lady took her dog. And this lady walks her dog everywhere and never is on leash, and they just let her free roam. Like everyone in the neighborhood knows this lady and her not even husband. She's also a whack job, but less of a whack job, which is still a lot to say. This lady's like 80 years old almost and was telling me to bring it, bitch, in the backyard. I was like, you're wild. But guess who also said that? Her little friend. So I'm like, you guys are nuts. You want me to like beat your ass so you could be like, she beat us up. And I'm like, no, like you just stay off my property. I suggest all that. So, I just don't want to deal with it either. My home is my sanctuary, is like my peace, and like I've had to really work through like not allowing anyone to take that away from me because I deserve better. So, here I am, but she took that lady's dog too and then tried to take my first pup, and I was like absolutely not. And he loves both of my pups love me so much, but my 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 Dutch, I just felt like bad too. I was like, you need like a buddy system. We need a little trio of us. And it worked out great. And she stayed away a little bit more, but she was still lingering like every day. She was filming my house and stuff. It was a lot. Yeah. I'm like, you want to come to USA? Yeah, grandma, she was sassy. But when I first met her, I was like, "Oh, you tell her how it is." And I was like, interesting. And we got along for a second, but she was friends with a neighbor inside my circle. And they had a huge falling out, and I only learned this later. So I think she was like using me to still come by because she would have no reason to be over here because they had a huge falling out. It wasn't like to just stop talking, they had a huge falling out. And it was like a weird triangle. And I honestly, I don't dissect people, but I do take notes of behavior and just approaches and how you'll use something back at me, or you start to do something because I said something. Like I don't know. I definitely take note of how people act. Everyone has a bad day, but when you're consistently just like a whack job or like a liar or like bullshitter, I start to be like, okay, well, like I don't want to be around that. It gets old. Grandma's crazy. She was nuts. But even when the popo came, they were like, yeah, there's multiple of the neighbors that are like essentially scared of you. And I was like, oh, no. One of them, maybe her culprit that like pulled her by her strings, but there's not multiple of them. And I definitely opened my mouth to a few of these neighbors here because you can't let people tread on you either. They tread on you, they take advantage of that, and they consider kindness as weakness. And I think some people get a benefit of a doubt. I try to give everyone a benefit of the doubt. But don't start treading, because you start treading, you're gone. I'm not doing that shit. Like get a hobby that doesn't involve me at all. Like lose my name, number if you even had it. So I I definitely I don't play that. When it comes to like your home, it's like way different than having like a bad exchange at like a grocery store that you leave from, and maybe you go back there every few weeks, couple weeks, whatever, a week, however, and you may see that person again, maybe. It just depends on the universe, but most of the time you don't. It's like a one-off situation, then you get to leave and you shouldn't carry it back with you. Some crazy stuff happened over the weekend too. This guy literally like pretend to like have a pew pew and open up his gun or open up his car door and pew pew at the ground with his hand, like pretending he had one, and like almost like hit this other car. It was like it's wild. The world is getting crazy. So I try to actively remind myself that even if you're feeling feisty and you want to tell somebody how it is, and I think sometimes you should, but there's also times that you need to remind yourself, which is every time, we really don't know what others are going through. So if we stir some pot, you don't know if you're stirring a hornet nest, and you may also be going through something as well, and we're all just throwing fuel on fires. Like, it's not good for anyone. Like, we need to like remove ourselves from those situations, because I do unfortunately believe the devil is doing his work out there too, and the world's a crazy place and it's only getting crazier, and if we allow those type of energies to like f with us, it's almost hard to like take that back. So, it's been very humbling living here, because I'm like, wow, like you really cannot allow people into your core. Like, I mean, you give someone a centimeter, they take 90 yards. Oh, she was nuts. She was stomping on the ground. Like, I honestly look back and I laugh about it, because I'm like, wow. You are something else. I'm like, you, and she's super short too, so I'm like, but she's originally from like Illinois, Chicago, so I'm not gonna say it's rough, but most people will say that it is kind of rough there. And she was what was considered an orphan back in the day. No one says those words really anymore. I grew up in the system, so I felt like we clicked for a little bit of a second. But she reminded me of what I never wanted to be. And I don't want to be as miserable as her in her golden years and my golden years. So maybe I'm learning all this stuff now to prevent that from happening. But I mean, people show their colors. Maybe the first interaction, you don't see it entirely. Maybe you have some red flags, but you give people a benefit of doubt, and then they expose their whole ass, and you're like, oh, okay, this is literally not what I want to be around. Or the first time, because first impressions are important, but people also put on a show for on first impressions. So are you really meeting that person, or are you going to see different shades of them next? Yeah, I need a lot of blessings. I appreciate it all. It's only as bad as you really make your mind to believe it to be, but at the same time, I'm not delusional and I know it's bad. So, like, I really try not to lean into it. It does feel good to let some of these stories out and laugh about them more so now than like being upset or like, wow, bothered that these people are reoccurring all the time. But it's like a light. It gets turned on here and then they come out like full moons. I feel like something always happens in full moons here. And there's a full moon upon us. I think it's like the first. Some wild stuff. You always have to protect your energy and stand your ground, but not let people know that like they're gonna get all worked up, or they're gonna get you all worked up because of their existence. And at one point, I know that's what they were doing here, and I'm like, look, I'm not gonna keep allowing these little trolls to get under my skin like this. Like, you know what time it is now. There's police reports in there. You need to back up. good chat this morning, y'all. Nice to meet you too again, Bree. You're always welcome here. I always ask about the age thing because I don't want children in here for obvious reasons. But nice meeting you through the chat. You can come out and hang out any point in time. Happy early birthday to you. And there's positivity going on here too. We do dog stuff in the morning, really. Just like get ready with us running around and feed the birds, ducks, all the animals, and then try to do crafting stuff here and there too. And obviously have chit chats because there's so many things to talk about. And when you're with like good people and good energy to flow, the conversation never runs dry. Granny better be at her home. You're talking about the one that said bringing me? She's probably at her house right now. Honestly, let's not manifest her. It's like bee juice. You start saying it and then they start coming out. How did you get here? Just scrolling through?